Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, it is literally like 7:16 and I have been up since 4:45, which is fine. Oh, my brain said it's time to get up, honey. And I was like, oh shit. And then my brain was like, you know what? We're gonna wake up and everything's gonna feel bad. And I'm just like, wait, no. And my brain's like, oh yes, everything feels awful and terrible. And I'm like, wait, no. And then it's just like, yeah, I had a morning. It is something that happens though. And luckily, I feel as though I was able to recover from how jarring it was in the beginning, and it only took me 2 hours, so I feel like it'd be a good idea for me to kind of like discuss what I've done to help me with this and what is necessary for me in this situation right after I let my dog out. Oh my god, he's staring at me and he's like, mother, why would you go outside and not let me out? Yeah. There you go. You're free. Yeah, you're so cute. Hello. Okay, I gotta go sit back down. Yeah. Okay. Right, back to. I don't know. I think, depending on the circumstances, dictates what would be helpful for me when that sort of thing happens. Because, like, I don't really get to control waking up in fight or flight, you know? It just kind of happens. My body is just like, ooh, and I'm just like, what do I do? Because, like, when you wake up like that, it's kind of like you lose your frame of reference for what stability is, so it's easy to fall into it and be consumed by it. So that means it's my responsibility to recognize when it's hard. Today it was really obvious because I was like crying, but most times it's not that obvious. It kind of takes me observing how I react to stimulus to understand, oh, yeah, I'm not 100% today. Like, oh, this is getting a reaction out of me today? That's not necessarily great. So you always start off with the recognition phase of things. That's like whatever, the first step in the process of anything. And after that, it really depends. Sometimes, most of the time, the best thing I can do is take time for myself. And remove myself from enclosed surroundings. So being in like a space that isn't claustrophobic is really helpful, because then I don't feel as trapped. Like externally, I can only feel trapped internally, right? And then I also try to let myself feel what I can when I can. So in this circumstance, I was like, dang, this is a really painful thing. I need to feel it. Otherwise, if I just push it down throughout the day, it's going to fester and it's going to linger throughout my entire day. And then I'll just be slightly more reactive, than I would like to be. So if I can just get that emotion out in the morning, then hell yeah, I'm going to fucking do that shit immediately. No questions asked. I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. But what sucks more is taking it out on everyone around you, So this morning, I had my cry time, and then I had my chit-chat time. So I'll normally kind of do a diary on my computer, but because of the flooding and everything, I kind of my computer isn't necessarily the most accessible thing at the moment. So yeah, I was like, I guess I'm not going to type anything out. So I came out here and I just started talking and, recorded my audio for 10 minutes, and I felt a little less alone. Because at least I understood how I was feeling. Because that's really what loneliness is most of the time, at least for me. When you feel like no one understands. But in reality, it's usually you not understanding yourself and you're expecting someone else to do that for you. But that's a whole nother can of worms. We don't need to get into that either. Yeah, so I vented to myself. I smoked weed. That's really helpful because when the past feels like the present, having a tool that can make you disassociate ever so slightly from reality is very, 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 very helpful, because then, like if you smoke weed and use it as a tool, then you build up a tolerance and yada, 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 so it doesn't have the same effects as it does for most people. So for me, I can do a dab and I can just be like, all right, in 15 minutes, I'm going to be like, ooh, higher than a kite. But it forces me to let go of, the pain, because being high and being in pain is an awful thing. Like you're going to have a bad time if you're just like festering and holding on to everything while you're intoxicated. Like that's why people have a hard time most of the time. I've learned that it can be a tool to help you let go in the moment and kind of not necessarily avoid your feelings, but when your feelings are too much for you to manage and you don't trust yourself in those situations, then yeah, use the tool. Make it better. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Is it something that you should rely on constantly? No, absolutely not. So for me, I have different parameters for it. I have different types of cannabinoids that I use at different times, and that's really helpful for me. So sometimes I'll need, like if it's a moment like this morning, I'm going to need something that's like not super grounding, something that's really quick, and something that's not really going to have a lot of a buffer, So I'll have like THC Delta 9, whatever, like the standard stuff. And most of the times, though, I prefer to have like CBD or Delta A or CBN or something that like, nothing that is insanely psychoactive, because I don't necessarily like losing touch with reality. It makes me really nervous, but, different circumstances call for different things. And it's my responsibility to be able to understand what I need and when I need it. So I put a lot of thought into it, as you can tell. But yeah, and that's pretty much what I did this morning. I smoked a bit, processed, cried, I spent a good 2 hours doing what I needed to do, and now it's, it's like almost 7:30, and I don't know, I feel a lot better. Like just because I had a bad moment doesn't mean it needs to dictate my entire day. Like sure, shit happens, but I mean the only thing that I have for myself, that I can give myself, is my own stability. And it doesn't have to be external, because it really just needs to be internal stability. And that's what matters. I don't know. It's neat times. But yeah. It was also probably a good idea for me to do some audio stuff and like listen to how I am in those times, because oh my gosh, I'm so scatterbrained. No wonder people think I'm like really fast sometimes. Like if I'm nervous and if I'm having PTSD times, then yeah, I'm gonna be Speedy Gonzalez, or I just shut down and I don't say anything at all and I'm just like, oh. Normally it's the latter. If I'm in public, I'm just like really quiet. I don't know. Because I don't know, it's not, what else am I gonna do, Am I gonna go on like a tirade and destroy everything around me? No. Because that's stupid. And it doesn't work. It makes me feel worse, and then I have more problems to deal with. Gotta find the calm, I guess. Anywho, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and toots.